Welcome back, Shark. Congratulations on completing the first assignment. You did a great job. Now, let's go to part 2 of drafting the patent application. In part 2, the drawings are complete. The claims have been drafted and are also complete. The drawings and claims have been further reviewed by the patent sharks, so you should have received feedback. Please review this feedback in detail. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us and ask us. So now you can focus on the specification. So let's get started. So how does one draft a good patent application? Well, first, try to identify what the invention is relative to the prior art. Then describe the invention in a manner that best serves the purpose of the client. What is the client after? What do they need in the claim to protect their product from infringement? So try to think in those terms. Think as though you are the client. Think about how you would sell this invention. Then you can go and identify the concept of the invention, not the implementation. Again, let me emphasize this point. Identify the concept, not how it's implemented. So for example, what is the novel aspect of the baseball bat? Or feature? What is the novel feature? And what are the novel elements of the baseball bat? So what are those features that are different from the prior art? See, we know how a baseball bat is implemented, so you don't need to focus on that. Let's look at the various parts of the patent application. The parts of the specification are the title, the background, the summary section, a brief description of the drawings, a detailed description of the invention, and then the claims in the abstract. So, let's look at each of these parts in detail. Okay, so now we know what the parts of the patent application are, but in what order do we draft these parts of the patent application? The most common order for drafting purposes is usually as follows. You start off with the summary section, then you go to the abstract, then you write the title, then you go into the background, then the brief description of the drawings, and last but not least, the detailed description. So let's look at these. So let's look at each part in the proposed sequence of drafting. The summary. Well, the summary is usually a rewording of the claims in ordinary English. The abstract, it's basically a short recitation of the summary. Usually many patent attorneys just make it claim 1. In other words, they make claim 1 the abstract. Title, it's basically a further distillation of the abstract and should be very short. The background, it should only discuss issues that create a straw man problem for which the invention is the solution for. And last but not least, the brief description of the drawings and the detailed description of the invention. These should be written last because they focus on the very particular embodiments of the claim's subject matter. So let's look at these last two sections in more detail in the next few slides. So, what is the background? Patent applications may be viewed as sales documents. So the background should be written as a lead-in to the sales pitch. Show why the claimed invention is significant, or why it's a significant advancement over the prior art. Now, the background should identify the problem, and it should demonstrate how difficult it is to solve that problem. And last, it should show how the current inventor is solving this problem. Now, this could only be a very brief description at the very end of the background, which is usually one sentence. After looking at the background section, let's look at the detailed description section. The detailed description describes the figures. The figures are usually described sequentially. However, in certain cases they may be grouped together. You should discuss all the figures that you plan on using. So for example, the baseball bat has 7 figures that were presented in the ID by the inventor. If you decide to use all 7 figures, then all of them need to be described to some extent. Then, list the components or elements. Describe how these components or elements interact. So, for example, for the baseball bat, you have certain elements such as the handle 10, the barrel 50, and the end cap 90. So describe these elements with respect to each other. Here are some more pointers for the detailed description. Any terms used should be generally well defined. So the language you use should be clear and concise, and it should describe how this invention works. So any terms that you used in the claims must find support in the specification. This is very important. So what does that mean? If you have a handle 10 in the figures, then the handle 10 should be found somewhere in the detailed description. Here is an example for the baseball bat invention. If nut 71 is described in the claims, so if you decided to use this element somewhere in the claims, then you definitely need to describe it in the specification. Simple, right? So these are the main points, and many more subpoints could be made by many different practitioners. However, the best way to proceed is to get your hands dirty and start writing. So let's do that. So let's look at the second assignment. It involves writing the specification, because you've already written the claims that are based on the drawings that were given to you. So draft the entire specification. Draft the parts in suggested sequence. This will make your life much easier, trust us. Describe all the terms used in the claims. Describe all the elements shown in the drawings. Please use consistent terms for elements. So for example, if 50 is a barrel, call 50 a barrel throughout the specification. Don't go further down the specification, start calling 50, say, a barrel portion or a barrel member or something else. Revise the claims in view of what you said or what you say in the detailed description. This is if necessary. Please remember that this process involves lots of trial and error, but it's going to be well worth it at the end. So just try your best and don't worry. So, to conclude, once again, do not be discouraged, be persistent. It takes time to write a good patent application. Lots of trial and error goes into this, just like the claims. And don't forget, every patent practitioner is different. There is no one right way to draft a patent application. Anyway, if you have any questions, please contact the Patent Sharks. We are here to help. So, all we can do at this point is recommend for you to practice, and just go through several iterations of the application until you think you can get it right. Thank you, Shark, and good luck.